Man, what a crazy week. All right, traders, here we go. The watch list video for, let's see, Monday will be December 10th. Showing you the SPY here. Man, this thing just from the top of this range almost to the bottom of this range in 1 week, including what I would call a massive bounce on Thursday. Friday right back to the lows, which is pretty darn bearish if you always, try to put yourself in the mind of bulls and bears and everything. Bulls got really let down after this nice reversal on Thursday to be right back down on Friday. So, I've got a lot of potential bounce plays on watch. It's been a crazy week. I'm very proud to have been green every day this week when you consider the chaos. And that's why I always preach to you guys in chat. I'm a day trader, right? This is my equity curve for the week. Green dots mean new highs for the year. So it also, I went out of the week, I ended the week at new highs for the year. Each one of these little changes is a trade. So you can see I did have some losing trades in there. But overall, just being in cash and waiting for those A-plus setups absolutely pays off. If you weren't in chat on Friday, and I'll get to the watch list in just a second, but if you weren't in chat on Friday, I got to talking about somebody was brand new in the room and thought that I called something, right? They thought I said so-and-so XYZ is going to ramp or something like that. I think that's the word they thought I used. I said I never say that. I never say this stock is going to break out, right? Never. We don't even allow that kind of language in the chat room, as most of you know, because nobody knows what a stock is going to do, right? I might say, hey, if XYZ breaks this whole number, you've got yesterday's high just above and the high from 3 days ago that had a big breakout just above that. So we've got stacked catalyst and it's a low floater and there's a big seller on the tape right at that whole number. I might give you a scenario like that. Say if it breaks this seller, it might start knocking down these other dominoes, right? And that kind of helps you choose position size and all that. But I never say, nor will I allow anyone to say, hey, this stock is going to run, right? So we threw together an analogy on the fly. It happened by accident. And I said, hey, has anyone ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark? Talked about this guy who grabbed that I want to say amulet. I don't even know if that's the right word. That was in a fire that had the markings to tell him where the ark was, right? And it burned into his hand. And then, of course, he dropped it. But the rest of the information was on the other side of the amulet. So he was digging in the wrong place because he had partial information, right? I thought that was kind of a good analogy when you're just trading and you don't fully understand a whole setup, or you're trading with just enough information that you've gathered, to get yourself in trouble, right? That was kind of the analogy I used. And somebody PM'd me after I used that analogy and said, oh, by the way, that guy at the end of the movie got his face melted off. There's that same guy, right? And then he went on to say in the private message, an apt metaphor. I love that. So if you weren't there in chat, this is one of my favorite things that I've seen unfold in chat. An apt metaphor, and it's very true. If you are trading with just enough information to get yourself hurt, man, spend your weekend studying, right? If you haven't signed up for the course, sign up for the course because it's, the people that we call GTMIs, which stands for going to make it. They're the ones that we notice are spending hours in the evenings, hours on the weekends studying, right? Doesn't have to be our course. Just make sure that you're following somebody with integrity that knows what they're doing, has been in the game a long time, and is a good teacher, right? But spend your time off. If you want to be a professional, consistently profitable day trader, spend your hours when the market hours are closed, right? Spend your off hours studying. Okay, the ones who aren't going to make it are the ones who get trashed on the weekends and show up on Monday morning and think they're going to be a professional trader. Man, you got to put in the hours. All right, that's my little mini lecture. And keep in mind, this is coming from a guy who tweeted Friday afternoon while the market was still open, pictures of drinks that we were having. But I'd had a good week. I was celebrating. All right, anyway. So, be very aware of the SPY chart going into Monday. Again, you've got a lot of disappointed longs from Thursday as this thing right back to Thursday's low on Friday. Having said that, news can come anytime about an agreement on Chinese tariffs or whatever. And so the market's iffy right now. It can rip one way or the other. And I suspect in a tape like this, longs and shorts are both getting killed, right? And that's, again, why I'm in cash every night and only trade the A+ setups as the day unfolds. Here's what I'm watching for Monday. UXIN, you had this big day on Thursday. 320 to 490 was the range. And then on Friday, it ended up closing very strong near the 2-day high. I made 2 calls in this on Friday if you weren't there. One was through 4 after the gap up. It only went up about 17 cents, but I made a nice trade in it. And I did a trade review, so if you go to the results page on our website, scroll down, I made a review video to explain this entry right here, right there where my cursor is, and it never looked back. So you can check that video out if you weren't there or haven't seen the video. Anyway, this one's holding up really well in an ugly tape, so we're going to watch that one again on Monday. Cron, Altria Group, the news came out. They officially invested a big chunk into this company, into Cron, pot stock. So it gapped up and sold off. But, any kind of strength in the market or whatever, you'd have to feel like this one's got a floor underneath it now with a massive tobacco company like Altria Group investing huge into Cron. So we want to watch all the pot stocks next week. But, Cron is one I put on the list. VVUS, I could not find a reason for this volume spike, so it kind of gives me pause, makes me a little bit nervous about it. There it is on 15-minute candles. I had a big pop. It almost feels like maybe it was being pumped by a room or something, but it closed right around $3. With the volume spike, I think it's worth watching, but I am a little cautious about that one. CLDR, this isn't really a pretty chart, but on Thursday it had almost 10 million shares and had this big candle. And you could maybe make the argument that, and that was on earnings, by the way, you could maybe make the argument that this partial retracement on Friday on lower volume could have been just because of the market. So if there's any market strength, this is a good candidate to turn right back up again, all right? Hawaiian Airlines, HA, just another nasty red day. At some point, this could give a really nice snapback bounce. I didn't take any trades in it on Friday, but it's really, really oversold in a very short period of time. Worth watching. ADIL had this huge 2-day move, and now we're 4 days lower, right here in the what we call the buy zone between the 8 and the 20-day moving average. So looking for a turn back up in that one. Again, not going to fight the market. If the market's tanking, I won't be taking any of these long, right? ANY is another one that had, it was the stock to trade a couple weeks ago. Just kept making huge moves, and now it's on much lower volume, kind of winding its way back down. I don't have any kind of setup in it other than I'm going to watch and see if it gives one of our low risk intraday bounce play setups, and that one could give a nice pop. DFRG, kind of like that CLDR, really nice move on Thursday, right? Partial retracement, maybe because the overall market was so weak on Friday. So if there's any market strength, another good candidate like CLDR to turn right back up. Ross Stores, ROST. This one, I really like if it could just have another ugly day and get down here around 75 bucks. I mean, look back here. Whenever it flushed 75, and in most of these cases, it actually made it to 74. But anywhere under 75, if it gets there in a hurry, you could get a really nice snapback bounce. It's got pretty nice support in this area right below 75. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. And that's if the market's weak and everything sells off, this would be a good candidate down there. AETI had the gap up. What would this been? Monday, because that was Tuesday. The market was closed Wednesday. Yeah, so this would have been on Monday. Had the gap up, gave a lot of it back, and then the next day, another nice push and actually took out Monday's high. And now you've got a couple days lower in a weak market. Could argue maybe this is coming down because of the weak market. It's a pretty good candidate for a turn back up with any market strength. Couple more. NVLN had this big pop back here, another pop back here, a couple days lower, back down to the moving averages. Not in love with it, but keep it on watch. And then VNDA is my last one. Really big breakout back here. I guess this would have been Monday, then Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Coming down on lower volume. We'll look, especially if there's market strength, we'll look for this one to turn back up too. That's actually a lot to watch when you consider how ugly the market is. So show up Monday morning and be ready to trade, and we'll be focused. and hopefully have a really nice week. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see everybody on Monday.